In today's video, we're going to be talking about whether or not it's actually worth it to start a dropshipping business in 2025. Is it worth your time to get started, to make a website, start doing some product research, and ultimately launch a dropshipping store? Those questions and more will be answered in today's video. So with that being said, that begs the question, is dropshipping ultimately worth it in 2025? Well, the simple answer, to be completely honest with you, right off the bat is hands down, yes. Dropshipping is 100% worth it because of how easy it is to get started. Not only that, it's actually very easy to scale in the business as well. Of course, if you do everything the right way. You can't just grab some random product off of the shelf or off of an online shelf and list it for everyone to purchase and expect everybody to make that purchase, or expect your first product to be a winning product. Things like this, they take time. So while it is very well worth getting into the dropshipping business in 2025, one thing that you very well have to be aware of is the fact that it's not as easy as getting rich overnight. People who make promises that you can get rich overnight with pretty much any type of business model are just straight up lying to you. And this is one thing that a lot of people really need to be able to see through. While there is a lot of success in dropshipping, and it is in fact a very lucrative business, it is something that takes time to build, just like any other business. You need to do some testing. You need to see what products work. You need to see what niches work. You need to see what works for you. You also need to figure out the target audience that you're talking to. Who are you trying to sell to? All of these things are things that you're going to figure out in your journey as you continue and as you start experimenting with different ways of your marketing and with different products. Now with that, let's go ahead and talk about a few of the different challenges in dropshipping itself. Now for one, because of the fact that it is actually a very easy business to get into, there's going to be a lot of competition. But remember, a lot of people are trying to get rich quick. So a lot of the people that are jumping into this, they're just trying to grab anything that they can and sell it, which again, a lot of the times that's not going to work. So what you can do is you can simply start to do actual research. Look up different products in your niche and see what's working. See which products can solve a solution. See which products have a wow factor. What products make you instantly say, I need to buy this. This is really cool. Because those are the types of products that you want to be selling. Products that can affect people's lives, of course, in a positive way, help them out in their day-to-day, or products that also have a wow factor, products that are unique, things you don't see every day. There's a lot of different ways to be able to start finding these products and doing some proper product research. And remember, if you want to learn more about product research and what you need to know in terms of what is a winning product and how to find them, make sure you subscribe to this channel because all of that and more is covered in all of our different videos. Now, speaking about high competition, a lot of people also know that they do need to niche down and find their lane. So because of that, there's a lot of really popular niches that are already pretty saturated and have tons of people selling the same exact product. Now, in order to combat this, there's a few things you can do. For one, you can niche down even further. Remember, there's always sub-niches upon sub-niches under every other niche. So take, for example, the pets niche. The pets niche is pretty saturated because it's such a broad niche, it's so popular, and it's very lucrative. So what you can do in this case, if you do want to get in the pets niche, is sub-niche into the pets niche, if that makes sense. So just start niching down even further. So instead of just doing all around pets, start going into just dogs. And if not just dogs, you can niche down even further into specific types or specific breeds of dogs, like let's say pit bulls or Labradors. Or you can go into different types of animals, different types of pets, like exotic pets. There's always a subcategory under every single category that you can start to target. Now, even though dropshipping itself is a very low cost business to get into, a lot of people are still worried about the fact that you might need to have an investment or some money put aside to be able to get started in the business. And while yes, it is very true that if you do start with a budget, you are going to scale a bit quicker because you can afford a few more things like, let's say, advertising or different types of ways to market your products. It's not always 100% necessary. There's tons of different marketplaces out there that you can start to dropship on that you can get started for completely free. One of them being eBay. You can get started for completely free selling on eBay. All you have to do is put the money up front when you get an order, so that way you can actually place that order from your supplier. But you really don't have to put any money to actually open a store. You can open up a seller account or a personal account and start selling through there. All right, so now that we talked about a few of the challenges when it comes to actually dropshipping, let's talk about a few of the pros. What actually makes it worth it, and why should you start dropshipping? Well, for one, like I said earlier, it's easy to start. Building a store now is easier than it's ever been. You can use something like AutoDS's AI pre-built Shopify stores to get your store up and running in literally 2 minutes. It's never been easier to build a Shopify store than it is now. Now, if you want access to that, if you want to check that out, or if you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can check out this video right here. In it, I tell you everything that you need to know on how you can get started with AI pre-built stores. But you can get started right now by just going over to AutoDS.com and signing up for the next 2 weeks for just $1 for the trial period. So that way you can get your store set up pretty quickly and start selling. But besides that, again, you can also start on something like eBay, and there you can start for completely free. Besides that, there's also a few other marketplaces that you can get into, like let's say Etsy. Etsy lately has been having a lot of dropshippers go into it, but a lot of them have been banned simply because, again, you're trying to dropship everything. So if you go into it with a smart business plan and already knowing what types of products you want to sell, like let's say in particular Etsy, they're very big on handmade products because that's what their niche is. So you need to go in selling products that are similar to handmade products or actual handmade products, which is pretty easy to find if you do a little bit of product research. You can check out the AutoDS's handpicked product section and find tons of different products on there. But if you stick to the right niche and you follow the rules and regulations of each platform, you're not going to have any issues and you should have a pretty successful store down the line. Now, with each one of those platforms, there is some sort of cost associated with each of them. Shopify, you can get started for just $1 for the first month. But after that, you are going to have to pay for the monthly plan, which would be about $30 if you do month to month, or if you do yearly, then it's going to equal out to about $20 a month. But besides that, if that's too much money, if you don't want to spend that much, at least at the beginning, then you can also, again, opt in for eBay, where you can start for completely free, or you can get started with Etsy, where currently I think it's $29 that you have to pay to open up a store, whereas before it used to be free. But either way, it's still just a one-time payment. And then you also have to pay per listing. So each time that you upload a product, it's 20 cents. But still, it's very minimal. It's very low startup costs. You can easily get started dropshipping on eBay for completely free, or on a platform like Etsy with maybe about $50 to just get started uploading a lot of different products and to cover the shop opening fee. And let's say on Shopify, you can get started with maybe about $100 to about $500. Or if you want to just try it out for the trial period, you can get started with less than 50. Now, another thing that factors into the low startup costs is the fact that you don't have to have any inventory. You don't hold inventory. You don't have to buy any products in bulk. The only time that you have to buy products is if, let's say, you want to make a video. You want to do some content so that way you can start running some ads. But besides that, you don't really need to spend any big amounts of money up front. You don't need to buy inventory. You don't need to pay for storage or a warehouse to be able to store any inventory. So because of that, it's a very low risk business model as well. So if for whatever reason one store or one niche doesn't work for you, you can scrap that idea and start with a completely different one. You don't have a lot to lose. The only thing you're really going to be losing is going to be a few bucks. But realistically speaking, in what business are you going to have completely zero risk, right? So while it's not totally zero risk, it's very, very low risk. You don't have a lot to lose. But on the flip side, you do have a lot to gain. If you do your marketing right, if you do your product research right, you can have a winning product on your hands that people go absolutely crazy for. You remember fidget spinners? Yeah, those things were a huge trend. Now, the people that caught that trend before it started rising, those are the ones that made a lot of money. But nowadays, it's really easy to go viral on something like TikTok, especially if you have something that really wows people. So if you have a cool product that, I don't know, you can use with your dog, you can go ahead and make a video with your dog. People go crazy for dogs, and post it up on TikTok. Post up you showing off the product, using it with your dog, do multiple posts. Chances are people are going to start asking questions. People are going to start interacting with the videos, which ultimately in turn can lead to sales. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. The one thing that everyone wants to know. How much money can you make with dropshipping? Well, this is really going to be up to you and up to your business, your niche, and really a lot of factors. But ultimately, let's think of it this way. In terms of profitability, you can start to make up to about 2 times what you're sourcing your products from. Generally speaking, you do want to be sourcing products that when you sell them, you can sell them for about 2 to 2.5 times what you're sourcing them for. So let's say you source a product for $10. You want to make sure that you can sell it between $20 to about $25, if not more. And the reason for this is because that alone is going to be able to cover any fee that's associated with selling. On top of that, you'll also be able to have a profit. Now, profits are going to range. Sometimes you can be making about 20% at the beginning once you're, figuring things out. But as you start to get a bit more experience, you start to work with better suppliers, you can start increasing your profits between 30 to 40%. There is some established dropshippers out there that are easily making about 60% profits on every single one of their orders, and they're making tons and tons of orders. So going back to what I said up at the beginning, it's about putting in the work. You need to keep working at what you're doing. You need to keep experimenting. You need to keep seeing what works for you and what doesn't. So how do you start dropshipping? Well, if you want a full breakdown on how you can get started dropshipping, you can check out this video right here. Laurent teaches you absolutely everything you need to know on how to get started in the business in every single platform. But just as a general overview on how you can get started, it's actually very simple. The first thing you need to do is you need to find a supplier. Now, when you're looking for a supplier to partner up with, there's a few things that you need to look for. One of them is gonna have to be that they have multiple warehouses. Not just multiple warehouses, but multiple warehouses around the globe. The reason for this is because if you partner with somebody that's just in China, your shipping times might take a lot longer than you want them to. And we're in the age of Amazon. People don't want to wait 3 or 4 weeks for the products. They want them next day. But people understand that not everyone is Amazon. So 1 to 2 weeks shipping time is more than enough, and people are willing to wait those 2 weeks. But anything more than that, that's a bit excessive. Another thing you want to make sure of is the fact that they have a wide product range. So make sure that they have a lot of different products for you to be able to test from to see what works. Now, this next one is very important. You want to make sure that they have an actual return policy, because if they don't, then you're going to be stuck with inventory if for whatever reason your customer wants to return it. And the way you do this is very easy. Just go ahead and check out their policies, see what they're stating, and also send them an email. When you send them an email, you're not just asking them a question, but you're also testing out their communication. You can see how they communicate with you, if it's an effective way of communication, because if it's not, then things can get lost in translation, and ultimately that will cause problems for you. And last but not least, always make sure that they have good reviews, not just for the products, but for the sellers themselves. You want to make sure that the sellers that you're working with have good reviews, because if they don't, then you're going to run the risk of having bad quality products, which in turn will end up having customers do returns, do chargebacks, and really just hurt you in the long run. So you want to make sure that the suppliers that you work with have at a minimum about 4.5 stars. Anything lower than that, you want to read through the reviews to see what people are saying, but 4.5 stars would be the minimum that I go with. Same thing goes for the different types of products that they're selling. When you're doing their product research, check out the reviews for the products. See if they have good reviews, or see if they have mundane reviews. Now, speaking about reviews, the last thing that I'm going to mention in this part is going to be make sure that they have specific reviews. If they have very generic reviews, like let's say somebody just saying my dog loved the product or my mom thought it was great. If you see too many of these, it can kind of start to get a bit fishy. It can get a little bit sus, simply because a lot of the times certain people will purchase reviews, and fake reviews can ultimately lead to bad products. So always try to be specific with your reviews, or try to be specific with what you look for in the reviews. Look for people that are actually talking about the product itself. See what reviews are mentioning any benefits that the product have, and maybe even showing you with images, like pictures in the reviews. Now, there's tons of different suppliers out there that you can use. Some of the most popular being AliExpress, AutoDS themselves, because we actually have our own private suppliers, DHgate, Costco, Walmart, and tons more. If you want a full list, just go ahead and check out the description down below. There's going to be a link to a relevant article covering everything that I'm talking about in this video. But besides that, along with the suppliers, you also need to start doing some product research. So you need to see what products are trending and what products are specifically trending in your niche. And in order to do this, there's a few different methods. So for one, if you're signed up to AutoDS, you can use the handpicked product section. All of the products on there are handpicked by expert dropshippers with a specific criteria in mind. On top of that, these are proven products that have been trending in the past few months and are currently selling. You also have a social ad section where you can go through all of the different ads that are running on Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok to be able to see what products are trending on each platform. This is very helpful because it'll start to teach you what works for what platform in terms of advertising. Another really easy thing that you can do is simply just go to Amazon or AliExpress and check out the bestseller section. See what people are currently purchasing and what's hot and trending. And last but not least, just go on TikTok and just simply search up hashtag TikTok made me buy it. If you do that and you include your niche, like let's say dogs, then you're gonna have a huge list of videos that you can go through with products that are relevant to your niche. All right, so after you have all of the supplier and product research out of the way, the next thing you need to do is actually open up your store. Now, I told you earlier there's a few different options to choose from, some of those being Shopify, Wix, and WooCommerce, which are the 3 top e-commerce websites to actually make your own website. Or you can also go with a selling platform where you're going to be selling on somebody else's platform and you're not really going to be making your own website. And these are going to be platforms like Etsy, eBay, or Amazon. Once you have your store set up, the next thing you're going to have to do is simply fill it up with products. And to do this, you're going to have to start doing some product importing. Now, the traditional way of doing this is going to be by going to a product. Let's say if you found a product on AliExpress, saving all of the pictures, copying over all of the descriptions, the titles, the variations. And while this may be 5 to 10 minute process per product. If you're doing maybe 2 or 3 products, it's going to be okay. But once you start getting into the higher numbers, once you start importing maybe 20, 30 products, then you're literally going to be sitting at your desk for hours on end, just doing the same thing over and over. Time that honestly is a lot better spent somewhere else, reinvesting that time in, let's say, maybe more product research or in running some ads or making content for your marketing. So in order to be able to do this and save time from your product importing, with AutoDS, you can actually automate the entire thing. So take, for example, this dog collar. Let's say I want to import this product into my store. All I have to do instead of copying everything over is simply cut or copy the link, run back over to AutoDS, go to add products, single product, paste in the link, and that's it. Now I just go ahead and click on edit now, and I make any necessary adjustments to it, like let's say changing the title, maybe increasing the price or anything like that, right before I go ahead and click on save and import, where once I do that, it'll be imported to my store within a few seconds, ready for people to make a purchase. Now the cool thing about AutoDS is the fact that you're not limited to just importing one product at a time. You can actually bulk import tons of different products at the same time. All right, next up, you need to start advertising your products. Now, depending on the website or the platform that you're selling on, some people might not know that your products are there. So if you're selling on a platform like eBay, Etsy, or Amazon, then there's already going to be organic traffic going to these marketplaces. People are already going there expecting to make a purchase. So all they're going to do is simply go in there, type in what they need, and if your products match whatever they're looking for, then your products will show up. But if you're not doing that and you're actually selling on your own website, then you do need to start doing a bit of advertising. You're going to need to start looking into content marketing, maybe influencer marketing, running pay-per-click ads like Facebook or TikTok ads, or even Snapchat ads. But that's not to say that on platforms like eBay or Etsy, there's no marketing. There's a few different ways to market on there as well, so that way your products can get a bit more visibility. Etsy, for example, has paid ads where you can set a budget for each product, and Etsy will show your products to people, and every time somebody clicks on that product, then it'll start to take away from that budget. Once the daily budget is used up, then that's it for the advertising for that day. The next day, it's going to start over. Same thing goes for something like eBay. On eBay, there's actually 2 different ways to promote your products. One of them is going to be the standard PPC, or the Promoted Listings Advanced, and the Promoted Listings Standard. Now, the one that most people typically go with is going to be the standard, where you set a budget for it. So each product that you want to advertise, you can set a particular budget for it in terms of percentage. So whenever that product sells, eBay is going to take that set percentage, let's say 10%, as the marketing fee. That percentage is going to be the percentage from the final sale. Now, next thing is going to be your order fulfillment. When it comes to fulfilling your orders, what you're going to do is whenever somebody comes to your store and they make a purchase, you're going to take your customer's details and you're going to put that into your supplier's website. You're going to place the order with them and you're going to ship it to your customer. Now, this is also one of those things that if you're doing 1 or 2, it can be okay. It's not going to take too much time. But once you start doing, again, 10 or 20 products, it's going to take a lot longer. But on top of that, there's also room for error. If you mess up one number on an address, that product is going to a completely different person. So to help you with this, AutoDS also offers automation in terms of your order fulfillment. So what AutoDS is going to do is it's automatically going to take that order and it's going to place that order with your supplier, and it's going to use a balance that you top up to be able to make that purchase. So that way you really don't have to worry about anything. When you get an order, just take a quick look at it, see what's going on, and wait for it to get sent automatically to your supplier. All right, and last but absolutely not least, you're gonna have to maintain proper customer service throughout the entire process, from beginning to end. So if a customer has any questions at the beginning, if they have any questions about a particular product or about your shipping or anything like that, then you wanna make sure that you get back to them within 1 hour to about 24 hours. Anything more than that is unacceptable. Anything more than a day, typically people are going to forget they even messaged you in the first place. So that's why I always say, don't wait more than a day to get back to your customers. More than a day, you could potentially lose a sale. Now, if you're interested in learning some of the best products to dropship to help you out with your product research and what products work for what times of the year, then make sure you subscribe to the channel, because that's something that we cover every single month. Every month we have the top products video where we help you out and give you the top products for the upcoming month. So that way you can stay ahead of the game. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you subscribe. Also, if you found this video helpful, make sure you smash that like button and also ring that little bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos. Huge thank you to everyone for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. Remember, in the description down below, there is going to be a link to a relevant article with everything that I talked about in today's video and a bit extra detail. So if you want to check that out, it's going to be in the description down below. My name is Mario with AutoDS, and I'll catch you all next time.